the purpose of this live stream is to talk about mental health and mental illness. It's about normalizing mental health and conversations about mental health and mental illness. Not enough people talk about it. What I mean, we need to talk about it more, and we need to be more engaged with it from the perspective of everyone has issues. We all need to work on our mental health. We all need to be working on our degree of mental illness, because that's what we need in our culture more, is dealing with what's in our head. Because if you can see from the polarized world we're living in, something needs to happen, people. Well, good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining me again tonight. This is Dr. Stephen Walker, broadcasting live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. This is my twice a week mental health live stream on live to discuss mental health topics. How you doing, Maria? What's going on? How are you? Penny, how are you? Again, remember, this is a mental health live stream to discuss mental health issues, to discuss topics that affect us, topics that affect our society, what's going on inside of us. If somebody is struggling with something, there's a phone number on the right here. You can give me a call. We can talk about whatever's on your mind. You can join the discussion. I pipe the call straight through from my cell phone on live, so you can discuss anything on your mind. Here's the number if anyone's interested in giving me a call while I'm on live. Talk about depression, anxiety, anything, just the way you talk to a dentist or cardiologist or anything. We need to have discussions about mental health. We need to have discussions about things that are on our minds. We need to talk about what's going on, because if we don't, we're going to be heading towards a society of people who are just attached and couldn't care less about each other. So just want to talk real quickly about my Help a Human Fund. Again, remember, it's a fund I've set up. You can donate straight into it, and I use 100% of the proceeds to give people treatment who can't afford it. And I get tons of calls from people who have either lost their health insurance, can't afford their copays, and it breaks my heart when I have to not be able to give them treatment because we live in a capitalistic, economic-based society, and people aren't aware of how difficult it is or how expensive it is to run a small business, especially with the current culture of health insurance and all that. So again, want to also remind everybody about our sponsor. This is our sponsor who contacted us. They happen to catch one of our live streams, and they we'd like to get involved with you. BetterHelp.com. I'm going to post a link where you're not going to work with me, but if you type in betterhelp.com/Dr. Walker, you're going to get a percentage off of any work you do with one of the thousands of mental health providers, licensed mental health providers that you could work with. Thanks, Penny. Yes, as I posted on my Facebook page, hey Sigrid, how are you? Had a crisis call that went very long that I had to stay on until we could get somebody some help that they needed. And thankfully they're doing much better. So, which is great. And like I've said before, I love what I do. I love trying to help people heal. I love just about every aspect of this work, except the blanking paperwork, which can be extremely challenging. But anyway, you're not here to hear me complain. You're here to talk about mental health, talk about whatever's on your mind. Again, remember, I start with a topic, but anyone can take me wherever they want to go. We can talk about what's on your mind. We talk about if you're struggling with something. We can talk about politics. We can talk about whatever. Just remember, you give what you get. If you come at me in a rude way, you might get a little rudeness back at you, because, there's too much of this crap online where people just say whatever the heck they want and not really care about how it affects other people, which is about our topic tonight, how to be more interdependent. I don't know if you guys saw this on my Facebook page, but I posted this little meme over Independence Day to just wish everybody happy Independence Day and to remind everybody that we should also celebrate interdependence. Why do I say interdependence? Because there's nothing wrong with being interdependent on each other. Absolutely nothing wrong, okay? In fact, if you stop and think about it, what happens in our body when cells go rogue and stop being dependent on each other and stop being part of the larger body? I think it's commonly referred to as many forms of cancer. So what I would encourage everybody to think about are a couple of things when it comes to interdependence. One, why am I so afraid to be dependent on people? Why am I so afraid to be dependent on people? What is going on with me that I feel there's something wrong with being dependent on people? And I'll explain to you why I think being more interdependent is much more healthy than being independent. Now, again, remember, we've got cultural conditioning, right? Cultural conditioning is society telling us, oh no, this is America. We're a nation of individuals. We're individualistic. Okay, nothing wrong with individualism. I'm not saying, individualism is horrible. I'm just saying that we take it to a pathological level. And guess what I call it? Pathological individualism. Okay, because it has become so incredibly divisive in our culture that we genuinely feel, hey, Kat, how are you? Ingrid, how are you? How's Kat doing? Those of you who don't know, Kat is it has multiple personality disorder, which it used to be called, which is now called dissociative identity disorder. But she's got many alters. And last we heard from Kat, she was struggling with being traumatized or having her trauma stirred up again. So Ingrid, tell Kat we're all rooting for her. Would love to see her come out again and talk a little bit. So hang in there. But let's get back to the topic, okay? Interdependence, how to be more interdependent. Why do I feel we need to work on our interdependence? Because a society filled with people and individuals who only care about themselves is a society doomed to collapse. Now, I'm not talking about dependency to the point where, oh, I just want someone to take care of me my whole life and I don't want to work and I don't want to contribute. I'm not talking about that. That's a whole different level of dependency. That's more on the, like I said before, more on the pathological dependency. What I'm talking about is interdependency, meaning seeing yourself as connected to fellow human beings, seeing yourself as part of a larger whole. Now, why is that more mentally healthy? Let's think about it. Again, let me give you that phone number. If anyone's wants to join the discussion and tell me, dude, I think you're full of crap, or I don't think interdependency is a good idea, or I'm depressed and I'd like to chat with you about it, or whatever's on your mind, give me a call, okay? 813-938-3926 is my office line. It gets forwarded straight to my cell phone while I'm live. But why is more interdependency, more of a sense of collectivism, more healthy, more mentally healthy? Well, like I said, I touched on it a minute ago on a biological level. Cells in a body who are just independent of each other, not participating, not part of a collective whole. What's going to happen to the body? Okay, what's going to happen to a system within it where cells are just fighting for each other instead of working in harmony with each other? Because if you think about this body, we're a collection of atoms. We're a collection of cells, okay, fitting together, working together. But for some reason, we live in a culture where people genuinely think there's something wrong with being interdependent, being connected with each other. And on a mental health level, great, Jay. Good to see you, man. Appreciate the stream. Hope you worked on what we talked about last time, man. Why don't you give me, if you want, give me an update. See if you had some family stuff going on. Good to see you back. But why is that healthy on a mental health level? Well, let's think about it. How does isolation during this pandemic, how is that affecting people? How is being alone affect people who don't want to be alone? Now, I am not saying being solitude is a bad thing. Far from it. Trust me, my wife knows. The brother needs some solitude after a day of like today. And I love what I do, but I sometimes see 7, 8, 9, 10 people back to back. I'm fielding multiple text messages. Why do I do it? I love it. I love trying to help people heal. I see so many good people struggling with healable mental health issues, mental illness that can be healed. Why? Like my intro says, we're listening to people online who don't have a clue. They don't have literally a clue, but they're telling people how to heal their mental illness, and they have no training in mental health. None. We all have a degree of mental illness. Every single one of us, myself included, everybody you know has a degree of mental illness. Degree of mental illness. Some people are more on the extreme side. Some people are more on the less extreme side. But the problem is people don't want to admit that. People don't want to admit that. They want to stay stuck in this pain in their heads without realizing that that can be healed, without realizing that there are scientifically validated, scientifically impelled, couldn't think of the word, but that one was close enough, theories and modalities and interventions that are scientifically ground, meaning that if I do it the way it's supposed to be done, and the guy in Australia or woman in Australia does it the way it's supposed to be done, she and I will get the exact and pretty similar results. Okay? So I digress. Interdependency. Okay? It's okay to depend on other people. I think it was many years ago, Obama said something, and trust me, I'm no flaming liberal. I was an Obama fan for many reasons, but I think he dropped the ball in many respects. But anyway, he had he was talking to some people and said, business leaders, and said, none of you made it on your own. And he was like, what? Because it's true. None of us are making it on our own. Nobody is free from being dependent on each other. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. After every session, if I can remember, and I try to remember before I close out, I tell my patient clients, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. And I mean it. Why do I tell them that? Because it's true. I do appreciate them. And I am dependent on not them, but I am dependent on them, meaning that we need each other. And there's nothing wrong with that. And that's why I work so hard, because I am fully aware that just like they are coming to me for help, they are helping me feed my family. They are helping me make this live stream possible. They're paying for my internet bill. Health insurance companies. But you know what I'm saying? I have no problem admitting my interdependence on my clients. I have no problem admitting my interdependence on my wife, my son, my friends, family, the ones I still talk to. But that's a whole nother topic. But I have no problem admitting that. Why? Because it's healthy to be dependent on people. Now, I talked before about solitude and being alone. Nothing wrong with being alone. Nothing wrong with being a loner. Nothing wrong with being with being a person who gets recharged by being alone. Nothing wrong with that. The problem is when it becomes mentally ill or mentally unhealthy is when you hate it. When you hate being alone, or when you hate being by yourself. You want friends, but you don't know how to deal with that. And I'm going to do a live stream coming up on how to have more friends, how to be in a situation where you could be more social. Okay. But the problem is that we are conditioned to believe that it's better to not need anybody, that it's better to not need anybody. Like there's something in our cultural conditioning. I almost said DNA, but it's not in our DNA because it's just the opposite. Neanderthal man, Cro-Magnon man and woman who were isolated and ostracized or kicked out of the tribe or whatever, they didn't last too long. Okay. We are social beings to a large degree. I'm not saying that socially and social media and all that is the end. That social media is actually doing the opposite of helping people come together. It's actually fueling more and more isolation, more and more rage. People say things to each other that they would never in a million years say to anybody else. Thanks, Dennis, for your question or comment. I'm going to get to it in a second. Just want to finish up this point before I get to the questions and comments. And remember, everybody, this is a live stream. Okay, what does live stream mean? It means live stream. I am on live. So please ask a question. Please make a comment. This is for you. This is for you to engage about your mental health and mental illness. If you're catching this live or after I post it, please share it. All right, please share it. Be proud of the fact that you're watching a mental health live stream about your mental health, because that's exactly what we all need to be working on. We need to be working on the crap up here that we have ingested over years in the form of conditioning. Okay, and we're isolating, and we're talking about a narrow sliver tonight, which is the conditioning of being independent. There's nothing wrong with being independent. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being independent, but we have taken it to such a pathological level that we feel, honestly, people delude. Well, you know what I'm saying. They're delusional in the sense that they believe they made it all by themselves. You didn't make it by yourself. I don't care who you are, Elon Musk. I don't care if you're working as a lawyer. I don't care if you did not make it on your own. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. If you're an entrepreneur like me, you are dependent on the people who are coming to you for your goods or services. There's nothing wrong with that. And that should be your guiding principle when you're working with them. That the people who are entrusting you with their money or whatever, their confidence or whatever, you need to respect that and honor that. There's nothing wrong with that. On a mental health level, people who isolate and hate people, the misanthropes of the world, the people haters. Man, no. Hate of any kind is a mental illness, okay? Anger is okay, but when it gets into hate where you're just, oh, I want to kill this person, or I hate this person, or the world would be better without them, or whatever, okay? Keep your comments and questions coming. I'm going to get to them. I try to get to every single one of them before I log off. So if you have a comment, a question, a topic, something completely off the board that you want to talk about, okay? Please ask a question or make a comment. This is live so that I can engage with you. If you're struggling with something, if you need some, hey, I've been thinking about getting some therapy or working with a psychologist or a counselor, hit me up, okay? Don't be afraid to ask mental health related questions, okay? Yes, and Sigrid, you're raising a very good point, okay? I'm going to get to that, sister, because trauma-induced isolation and trauma-induced independence, there's nothing wrong with it, but it can be taken too far. It can be taken too far where you genuinely believe that because of unhealed emotional wounds, well, this person hurt me, so everyone's going to hurt me. But before I get to some of the comments and questions, let me wrap up quickly how to be more interdependent, okay? So, step number one, and you've heard me say this many, many times on these live streams, it's okay. And I'm not going to start singing Barbra Streisand, people who need people are the love. No, I'm not going to start singing that, because I don't really believe that I also believe dependency, where your entire self-image is predicated on approval, or you need to get likes and shares and follows so that you feel validated and good, which is exactly what fuels a lot of these people on social media that are giving you advice, okay? The need for approval, that's way too far. I'm talking about the realization that we are all part of something larger. We are all part of something that we don't know what it is. Feeling a connection to a larger whole is a healthy way to feel. Too much isolation is not mentally healthy. It's not, people. It's associated with depression. It's associated with I hear you, Jay. It's associated with Jay said, I don't play well with others. I feel you, brother. But what I'm telling you, my brother, is when you say you don't play well with others, I'll come back to this, is something happened when you were a kid that caused you to be isolated. So, but when we have a culture of people who are just fragmented and completely isolated from each other, that is like a Mad Max situation where it's every man for himself, every man and woman against for themselves, and God against all. So everybody is against everybody. That is not the type of society I would like to live in. Would you move into a neighborhood where they said, well, you can only move in if you never interact with anybody and any neighbors, you never ask for help, and if you need help, no one's going to help you, and it's just you're just totally on your own? I wouldn't. I'm not saying we should all have kumbaya, but on a mental health level, isolation and depression will break your soul if you want to be connected. Now, there are people who don't want any connection, and I'm not saying they're unhealthy. Remember, we talked about things that are okay with us: ego syntonic and ego dystonic. Okay, what that means is there are things within my ego that I'm okay with. That's ego syntonic. Okay, ego dystonic, dystonia, is the idea that there are things in my ego, there are things in my mind that I'm not okay with. I'm not okay with being alone. I want more connection with people. I want to have more friends. That's when the mental illness grows, okay? And you don't have the skills to do it. So the first step is to realize it's okay to be interdependent, okay? Meaning we all depend on each other. There's nothing wrong with that feeling, okay? Secondly, how to be more interdependent is to seek out people in your life that you feel a certain amount of compatibility with, a certain amount of kinship with, and to be okay with that. That can be multiple different ways. I really encourage it not to only be online. I know with COVID and we don't even know what's going on with all these variants. I get it. Okay. But if you're going to do it primarily online, there should be an attempt to meet each other in person. There should be an attempt to interact with people on a personal level. Okay. Step number 3, and I'm just banging these out. Okay. Step number 3 to be more interdependent: share how you're thinking and feeling with people. Don't keep it inside of you. Don't like, blah, I hate you, blah, blah, blah. But if somebody has hurt you, if somebody has done something to you, talk to them about it. Find a way. Remember, I talk about this all the time. Talk things out. Talkthingsout.com if you ever want to check out my website. Talk things out. Talk to people about how you're thinking and feeling. Those are 3 quick ways from, my 25 plus years of working with people that will help you be more interdependent. But the first way is the most powerful. Admit it to yourself. You're lonely. You want more connection with people. You miss having somebody in your life. You want a boyfriend, a girlfriend, whatever pronoun, whatever it may be. You want that. Be okay with that. Don't look at that as a sign of weakness. Don't look at that like, oh God, I'm so dependent. Now, people often say, well, what about codependency? Listen, people, I know these terms are thrown around in our society and they're talked about online by people who really have no clue what they're talking about. Dependency and codependency are 2 dramatically different things. It's okay to a degree to be dependent on people in your life. That's why I'm calling it interdependent. I'm not saying dependency because people are like, what, are you crazy? Interdependency. Codependency, real quick, came out of a lot of addiction research and addiction treatment. Classical codependency is, she's not, but if she was, if my wife has a heroin addiction, she doesn't, but if she does, I become dependent on her addiction. I become dependent on being her care provider. In many ways, codependency is you need the person in your life to be damaged or broken in order for you to find meaning. That's codependency. Okay, it's not codependency when you're dependent on somebody in your family for love or attention or I don't know. I'm not thinking clearly tonight, but the word is camaraderie, feeling connected to them. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, people. The reason people believe that being interdependent is bad is because you're not stopping and thinking how interdependent you already are on people. Okay, now I'm sure many of you guys watch, or some of you watch those shows on Discovery with people living in the woods and they're like, screw that. I'm not going to be dependent on anybody. More power to them. They can have that. I do not want any part of that. I do not want to kill my own food. I don't want to be worried about friggin' heat and bears and water and all of this. I don't need that amount of stress in my life. More power to them if they can do that. But people aren't even aware already about how interdependent we are on each other. We are very interdependent already. We're missing the obvious. And all we need to say is it's okay. And on a mental health level, it is going to aid your mental health when you admit to yourself that it's okay that I'm already dependent on people to a degree. Okay, so let me pause there, get to some questions and comments. And then again, remember, anybody wants to join the discussion live, talk to the brother. All right. 813-938-3926. That's also my office line. So if you're catching this after I post it, you can also give me a call then. But anyway, if you want to get on live and discuss this, or if there's something else on your mind, or if you want to discuss anything, or if you are one of these people who likes to flame my posts or whatever, and you want to try to engage with me live one-on-one instead of hiding behind your keyboard and being such an internet warrior, feel free to give me a call. Okay, but let's talk about interdependence. Let's look at some of these comments. So Dennis, hey Dennis, how are you? Long time no see, my brother. Good to see you back. How are you? He says the same thing. How are you? Long time no see, but I'm here tonight. I have moved on from my previous. Wow, nice. I have moved on from my previous relationship since we last talked. And my brother, life is good. I got out of my comfort zone, and it was a struggle, but I am good. I cut way back on my gambling, dude. Goosebumps. Gambling, met a very special lady, sweetness, that doesn't judge me or my past, all positive, nothing toxic. I wouldn't have the courage to step up and move on had I not started talking about it, started talking about my toxic relationship with you. Wow, dude, thank you. I would probably still be in it. Thanks, dude. Well, dude, I don't even want to see me tear up, man. I appreciate that. But the one thing I'll say, Dennis, is I appreciate that you're giving me the credit, but the credit is inside of you, my brother. The healing is inside of you. You found something within you. Otherwise, you would not have connected with whatever message I was giving you. So I appreciate it. And dude, let me tell you honestly, brother, I am not going to lie to people who watch this live stream. And I say this to my client patients. I appreciate that. I like that. When somebody gives me positive, when someone gives me negative, I listen to it. I'm like, oh, gee, well, I didn't know that. I take the feedback and I appreciate that, brother. But please say what you said to me in this message. Say that to you tonight. Say that to you. I'm proud that I made this. I'm proud that I did this. That is within you. You've got to own that power in you, brother. As much as I appreciate it, you're the healer, my brother, not me. I get it. I understand. And I say this to my clients. I know I'm like the rock climber, hey, no, whoa. I get it. But you climb the mountain, brother. You're doing the heavy lifting. I don't know if you ever spend any time in a gym where you work with a personal trainer or a spotter, and I'm just spotting people, but the power was in you, brother. So excellent, Dennis. Excellent. You made the move. Like you said, you got out of your comfort zone, and now it's time to keep the work going, Dennis. Seriously, because I know you're saying there's nothing negative with this special lady and she doesn't judge me or whatever. But trust me, bro, You know what it's like, the more comfortable, that old expression, familiarity breeds contempt sometimes. Stay on the work, bro. Keep doing the work. Talk things out with her. Get into a place where you both can feel comfortable discussing. If you hurt her, apologize. You don't have to admit you're wrong if you don't feel you're wrong, but you can admit and own that you may have hurt somebody. Big difference, okay? I don't want to name names, but there's a Canadian psychologist with a video on there. Don't ever apologize if you feel you're wrong. And I would love to discuss with him why I think on multiple levels that is a relationship killer. I'm not saying apologize for something you don't think you're wrong with, but I am saying if you've hurt somebody, then you need to apologize for that. Okay? This brutal honesty BS is the laziest form of honesty. Brutal honesty is childish honesty. No offense. Again, no offense if you believe in brutal honesty. All I'm saying is it's easy to brutalize people. Very easy. Compassionate honesty is what I advocate. So great, Dennis. Thanks for the update, man. Please keep logging on. You never know. You might hit a road bump. So great to hear, brother. But remember, you're the healer, okay? Sigrid saying, unfortunately, some of us have been burned, yes, very severely multiple times. Therefore, I have been on my own for the past 4.5 years. I learned early on that I can only depend on myself. And I feel you, Sigrid, I do. I hear you. Pain, like I said before, trauma will definitely affect your belief that you're never going to get hurt again. When you've been burned several times, yes, you can easily fall into that mistaken, no offense, mistaken belief that it's going to happen again. Okay? It's a mistaken belief, Sigrid, that you know the future, that you can predict that you're going to get hurt again. Again, my sister from another mister, and I'm sorry, I call everybody brother and sister. It's just part of the nature of the work. But you got to work on some of that pain, that severe burning multiple times. I learned early on that I can only depend on myself. Well, see, that's what I'm saying. Now, let me challenge you a little here, Sigrid. When you say I learned early on that I can only depend on myself, not blaming you, okay? But what I'm saying is what I'm hearing is what I've talked about in a previous live stream. I'm hearing a confirmation bias, okay? What's a confirmation bias? Hey, what's up, man? Thanks. Well, I hope your conversation with your I don't want to say son, daughter, but I hope everything went okay, Double Dragon, all right? I hear you, Eddie. I know it's you, but let's give me an update if you can. You don't have to call. I know that call that you did went over really well. I appreciate that. Let me just get back to Sigrid. I learned early on that I can only depend on myself, sister. That's a confirmation bias, okay? Because what that means is a confirmation bias is I have a bias in my mind. All bald people are idiots. So that's my bias. So what happens when I see a bald person? Whatever they do, they could invent a new way to make water. Oh, no, they're an idiot. Because we look to confirm that. So what I'm hearing, Sigrid, is if you came into the world being hurt a lot or let down, or you could only depend on yourself when you were a little girl, that became your confirmation bias. So everything filters through that. Okay? Sigrid, 4.5 years is a long time, sister. Okay? And I'm not saying you need to do anything you don't want to do, but please don't let that pain, that trauma convince you that it's going to happen again. Please, Sigrid, work on that. Talk some of that out with somebody. Work on some of that pain. Release some of that. Let some of that healing come in, and you never know what you might find, okay? But I feel for you. I really do. I do. I feel for you. I know what it's like to be hurt. We all do. I know what it's like to repeatedly, I made a joke earlier about some people in my extended family. I have repeatedly given people breaks. Oh, I'm so sorry. Repeatedly. So I hear you. Okay. I get it, but you can work on it. Okay. There's somebody out there, man or woman, whatever you're attracted to, that would love to spend some time with you. Okay, don't cut yourself off yet. All right, Sigrid? But thank you for sharing. I do appreciate that. Jay from Twitter saying, will it become more of an issue later in life if I only trust my wife as a social outlet at 29? Well, Jay, and then he's saying, I don't play well with others. Right, I hear you. Thank you. Well, I would say to you, my brother, you already kind of have a feeling that that could be problematic. You know, God forbid, not saying it's going to happen, but something happens to your wife or you guys split up or whatever, and you put all your eggs in that basket, so to speak. Yeah, then what? But I would challenge you a little bit, man. When you say you only trust your wife, what do you mean by that? Like, what do you mean by only trust your wife? Why do you only trust your wife? If you have issues trusting other people, Jay, I'm gonna bet that it may be manifesting in other relationships too, meaning that you maybe you don't trust people as much as you think you do. Maybe you don't trust your wife as much as you do. I don't know. But if you only trust your wife, will it become more of an issue later in life? You know, I can't predict the future, but I would encourage you to challenge yourself and ask yourself, what am I afraid of? I don't know if you caught a live stream I did a few weeks ago called how to manage disappointment. Sounds like Jay and Sigrid have been disappointed a lot by people, and they don't quite know how to handle disappointment, not because of you're idiots, but because you've been multiple times, you've been hurt by people, and that has caused you to fear disappointment, fear being hurt. So I get it. I get it. You know, I'm not immune to the idea that pain hurts. I know that. But what I'm saying to you is when you say that you only trust your wife, excuse me, I would encourage you to look at why that is, okay? And you might come to some interesting answers there. And yes, my brother, I think there is some sort of intuition telling you that that's a little shaky ground, okay? So new viewer, gaming with Maria is on. I haven't watched you for a long time. I'm sorry about that. And I heard you say that for the first time. Okay, great. Well, thank you for logging on. Let's see, just finish up. Same. That's the first time I've heard him say it. For some of you who don't know that what I'm about to say, it's not a joke. I've lost my mom, my grandma. Oh my God. I'm only 12. Whoa. And about to be 13 on July 25th. Holy crap. That's a lot of loss, sister. I hope you're whoever, and you're only 12. Wow. That's a lot to be dealing with. So you lost your mom, your grandmother, and your aunt. Was it? I mean, that's a lot. I don't want to. I don't want to like stir anything up here for you, but I don't know. I'm only 12. I'm about to be 13 on July 25th. Oh, well, happy birthday! Happy birthday! That's right around the corner. Don't give up, okay, Maria? Don't give up. That's a lot of loss. You're going to go through, I don't know when you lost your mom, when you lost your grandma. I don't know when your aunt. I don't know if it was all at once. But if it was all at once, my Lord, that is a lot to deal with. What I'm going to encourage you to do, seriously, okay? Yeah, you're welcome. Excuse me, just hit my hand on the desk. I'm going to encourage you, live stream. I'm going to encourage you, whoever's your guardian, whoever, I don't know if you're in foster care, I don't know if you're with whoever, but I would definitely, thanks, Sam. I would definitely encourage you, sister, to start talking about the pain inside of you. Okay, I would definitely encourage you to start talking about the pain inside of you. Now, from your name, you know, culturally, a lot of people, you know, people from different cultures don't believe, no, don't bring shame to the family. Don't talk about what's on your mind. No. You gotta work on some of this loss, Maria. Okay, no problem. You're welcome for the support. You gotta work on this loss. Did you lose, like, was it recent that you lost your mom, your grandma, and your aunt? Was that recent? Was it all at once? And even if it wasn't recent or wasn't all at once, you got to start talking about that. Again, I know schooling is weird these days, but you know, you're in middle school, so I would definitely encourage you to. No, wait, you're 12 or 13. No, you're probably like in 8th or 9th grade. But anyway, you used to be a teacher. Talk to your counselor. If there's this guidance counselor, school counselor, a principal, a teacher, somebody you trust, tell them, I need to talk to somebody. I'm getting depressed. I'm getting down. I'm feeling hopeless. I'm feeling isolated. Seriously, I've worked in multiple prior to when I was living in Oregon. All of my clients were teenagers and young adults who, in various forms of yes, that's a good question, Sam. She's saying, first I lost my grandma in 2014 first, then my mom in 2020. So is oh man, sister, that's a lot. That's a lot of loss. Well, listen, log on more. I'm on I try to get on at least twice a week. I don't always get it. Because of just work issues, but I definitely try to get on at least once a week. Set your notifications on for when I go live. Keep logging on, talk about it. If I can do anything to help you out, you can always reach out to me. Maybe we can talk a little bit. But the main thing, I want you to think about, Mariah, is this. The main thing, okay? You're going through a particularly challenging period in your life, okay? And I really want you to listen to me here, okay, Maria? You're hey, buddy. My 5-year-old is next door right now. But you need to have a long-term view here of Maria is going to be older at some point. She's going to be in her mid-teens. She's going to be in her late teens. She's going to be in her 20s and 30s. Maria, you got to start taking care of future Maria. And the way to do that is to start talking about it now. Get some of that pain and loss out of you, okay? If you're having thoughts of hurting yourself, if you're cutting, if you're doing any kind of self-injurious behavior, sister, you got to get some help, okay? Suicide is preventable. All suicide is preventable, all right? You got to talk it out, okay? You got to talk it out. You got to talk to someone close to you. If you're depressed, this is your first time on, so you probably haven't heard me say this before, but other people have, is you got to take the it's okay pill. What's the it's okay pill? Maria saying to herself, it's okay how I feel. It's okay how I feel. It's okay. It's okay that I'm down. It's okay that I'm lonely. It's okay that I'm hurting. It's okay. I don't care when you lost. I don't care. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter when you lost your grandma, your mom, your aunt. Meaning it doesn't matter that you're still hurting. Of course you're going to be hurting. It feels like it was yesterday, okay? So seriously, if you're having any kind of suicidal or hopeless thinking, please reach out for some help, okay? Okay? Please go to school tomorrow. Well, no, it's summer. Whoever's in your life, tell them, look, I think I may want to talk to someone about some painful idea. And if they say no, you can't do that because you're going to bring shame to the family, you may have to go it on your own. You may have to call some social services. You may have to ask a police officer. You may have to ask a nurse. You go to a hospital. If somebody is preventing you from getting help, you can get some help. And yeah, I hear you. It's about money, but see, sweetie, sorry. I call all my former students, sweetie and buddy. Sorry. You're a minor. You qualify for free help. Okay, you trust me, you qualify for free help, but you got to start asking for it. You got to let somebody in an authority position, a teacher, a student, a priest, whatever, that you need help, and you'll get some help. Okay, so let me just quickly get back to Eddie here and see what Eddie said, because Eddie's giving Maria a lot of support, which is beautiful. Okay, Eddie, so you're not talking too much about what we talked about last time, so I'll just leave it at that. I'll just say to you, Eddie, have the talk, brother. Have the talk. Have the talk about not having the talk. If you can't have the talk about the talk, have the talk about not having the talk. Let your son, daughter, son know, I'm going to talk to you. I'm not unaware. If you can't have a talk about the talk, if you can't talk about what you need to talk about, have a talk about having the talk. Okay. All right, brother. And then let me know how things go. All right, everybody. Well, thank you for logging on. Thank you, everybody who shared and commented on anything. Remember, there's nothing wrong with being interdependent on each other. Nothing. It's healthy. It's mentally healthy to feel a connection to people. It's mentally, all right, brother, let me know how it goes. Thanks, Eddie. It's healthy. It's mentally healthy to be interdependent on. If you're watching somebody on the internet, if you're listening to a podcast or a live stream and they're telling you you don't need nobody and F everybody and don't give an F and you don't need, they are bleeding all over you. They have issues that haven't healed within them. So what they're doing is they're telling you that's the way to find happiness or peace, is to be more disconnected from people. They're not mental health people. No mental health person will tell you that. Now, like I said before, if you're okay with being alone, if you're okay with solitude, if you're okay with being apart from society, and you're okay with that, an introvert, but you're okay with being an introvert, and it's healthy. You're perfectly fine. That's called egosyntonic. You're at peace with that. But if you hate being an introvert, if you hate being alone, and you really want to be more connected with people, the first step is acknowledging that and making that okay within you. Okay. Yeah, I got to blog off here because I got to keep these. I'm just being told they're too long and people aren't listening to them, or we're losing. And I got my wife and son out there waiting for me to watch a movie. So, but Maria, this is my, where is it? Here is my website. Okay. You can shoot me an email if I can help in any way. If you're having any kind of thoughts about hurting yourself or whatever, you need to talk to someone. Okay. You need to talk to someone. Okay. Because you're 13, you're 12 going on 13. Okay. You know what that means? You're going from girl to woman. That alone is going to start making you feel a whole bunch of things. Okay. So all I'm asking you, and I'm pleading with you, okay, start talking about the loss. Start talking about what you've been through. There's nothing wrong with hurting and still hurting from the loss of these significant people in your life. Nothing. Okay. Find somebody that you can say to, your auntie, your whoever, another grandparent, and whoever, your dad. Okay. Again, I don't know what your family dynamics are, but obviously someone's taking care of you. Or if you're in foster care, then you got a social worker or you've got somebody overseeing you. Tell them you're struggling. Tell them you're hurting. Of course, I get an Amber Alert right in the middle. But anyway, talk to someone about what you're going through. Okay, seriously, Maria. And you got my website. You can give me a shot me an email or give me a call, and I'll do whatever I can to try to help you. But seriously, if you're thinking of hurting yourself or you're depressed or whatever, now's the time to work on it. All right, people. Well, thank you for logging on. Remember, there's nothing wrong with being interdependent on each other. It's actually healthy. We should have, it looks like we have an Independence Day. We should have a National Interdependence Day, meaning that we're all interdependent on each other, and it's okay. All right. Remember my Help a Human Fund. If you can, donate into it. I can use the money to help Maria. I can use the money to help people who don't have this. And Maria is a perfect example of why I've started this fund, people. Perfect example. I would love nothing more than to be able to say, cool, I've got X amount of dollars here. We can use it to help you. But you can imagine in this line of work how many calls and how many people I get asking for help. And I wish I could help them all. I do. I wish I could work for free. Nothing in the world, oh God, nothing in the world would make me happier than to not have to work for money from insurance companies. And I love the insurance companies. Don't get me wrong. They're trying to help, but nothing would make me happier than to be able to literally give my services away. Nothing. I would love that. But guess what? Can't lose my house. Got to feed my kid. Got to take care of my wife. Got to pay for this and that. That's the kind of capitalistic society we live in. Anyway, helpahuman.org. Check it out. Okay. Check it out. All right. Well, you all have a good weekend. Real quick, betterhelp.com/Dr. Walker. You're not going to work with me, but if you sign up with that promo code, they'll give you a special rate. They came to us. They came to me and asked me if they could sponsor the show and put this up. Check them out. All right, everybody. Thanks for catching me live. I'll be on again next week. I'll put a notice on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter if I'm not going to be on. Thanks, Sam. But I'll let you guys know. But seriously, if you guys have any questions or comments or ideas for shows, shoot them to me. All right. Thanks again for logging on. Let's see. I think somebody commented. Okay, Eddie, take it easy, man. Let me know if I can help. Good luck. You can do this. Remember the self-talk, Eddie. I can do this. If you can't have the talk with her, have a talk about having a talk with her. Okay. Okay, Mariah, have a good night. Don't forget what I said, sister. Seriously, whatever depression and hopelessness you're feeling can be treated. You've gone through a lot of loss. Don't give up. All right, guys, everyone have a good night, and I will talk to you next week, and we'll have another interesting discussion about mental health and mental illness, because guess what? We all have a degree of mental illness, just like we all have a degree of physical illness. All right, everybody.